Okay, let's talk about the internet. You know, that digital Wild West where we all live now. What are the rules for what we can and can't say online? It's this messy, complicated world being shaped by courts, by giant tech companies, and, yeah, by us. And to really get a handle on the chaos, we have to start with a story.
So here it is. This is a direct quote from a Snapchat post. The person who posted it? A high school freshman who was, let's just say, not happy about not making the varsity cheerleading squad. You look at that and think, okay, typical teenager blowing off steam to her friends, right?
Well, you'd be wrong. This one disappearing photo, which someone screenshotted, kicked off a massive legal battle. And I mean massive. It went all the way to the US Supreme Court, and it forces us to ask the big question we're tackling today. In this age of social media, who actually gets to decide the rules of the road?
So let's dig into the case. The student, Brandi Levy, she posted this from a convenience store. She wasn't on school property, it was the weekend. But the school found out, and they suspended her from the cheerleading team for a whole year. So she sued, arguing that, hey, you can't do that, you violated my free speech rights.
And believe it or not, the Supreme Court actually sided with her. In a nearly unanimous 8-1 decision, they said the school went too far and that her off-campus speech was protected. But, and listen, this is a huge but, they left the door wide open for schools. The court said schools can still punish students for what they say, even off campus, if they can prove it causes a substantial disruption. So they didn't really draw a clear line in the sand. Instead, they created this tension that we're all still trying to navigate.
To really get what that tension is all about, we've got to go back to the source code, the legal foundation for all of this. It's kind of wild to think about how a document that's over 200 years old is supposed to apply to your Twitter feed.
And here it is, the First Amendment. It's short, it's powerful, but look very closely at who it's talking to. Congress shall make no law. This is the absolute key. The First Amendment is there to protect you from the government censoring you. It's not some magic shield that lets you say anything you want to anyone you want, anywhere you want.
Now, this whole idea is built on a really cool philosophy, the marketplace of ideas. The thinking goes like this. The best way to find the truth is to let every idea, the good, the bad, even the ugly, compete out in the open. The belief is that if you let truth and lies just battle it out, truth will eventually win. It's why we have this American ideal of a public debate that's supposed to be, as the Supreme Court put it, robust and wide open.
But, that marketplace is not a total free-for-all. There are definitely some ideas that are not welcome. Not all speech is protected, not even from the government. So now, let's get into those big exceptions, the gray areas where your freedom of speech slams right into some pretty serious limits.
Okay, first up, a big one, libel. This is when you publish something that's false and it damages someone's reputation. And in the digital age, man, this is a big deal. A lie can spread to millions of people in just a few minutes, and the fallout can be absolutely staggering.
I mean, just look at the case of Alex Jones. For years, he used his huge online platform to push the disgusting lie that the Sandy Hook school shooting was a total hoax. A court finally ordered him to pay the victims' families over $1.4 billion in damages. It's just a brutal reminder that freedom of speech is not freedom from consequences.
And here's another gray area that trips a lot of people up, your job. You have to remember, the First Amendment protects you from the government, not from your boss. A private company can absolutely fire you for something you post online if it breaks their rules. Check this out. An employee at Chipotle got fired after tweeting about low wages. Now, in this specific case, a judge later said that the company's social media policy was illegal because, hey, employees actually do have a right to talk about their working conditions. But it just goes to show you how easily what you tweet about your job can turn into a full-blown legal battle.
And these limits, they can start even before you get the job. If you're studying to be a doctor or a lawyer or, even a mortician, you can be held to the professional standards of that field, even on your personal Facebook page.
So there's this mortuary science student, Amanda Tatro, who made some, let's call them unprofessional, Facebook posts about a cadaver she nicknamed Bernie. The university disciplined her for it, and the courts sided with the school. They basically said, yeah, schools can enforce these professional standards if it's directly related to the program.
And finally, there's privacy. You can't just publish private, intimate stuff about someone and expect to get away with it.
The media company Gawker learned that lesson the hard way. They published a clip from a Hulk Hogan sex tape, and a jury awarded Hogan $140 million. The judgment was so big, it literally bankrupted the entire company.
So, you've got libel, your job, professional standards. All of these cases prove the First Amendment is not some magic shield. It has real limits. But in our world, today, there's a whole other set of rulemakers that are arguably even more powerful. It's time to meet the new sheriffs in town.
So here's the fundamental difference you have to get. The U.S. government is bound by the First Amendment, but platforms like Facebook, X, TikTok, they're private companies. They're bound by their own terms of service. They're not public spaces, they're private property. And that changes everything.
Here's the easiest way to think about it. The government can't really stop you from shouting something on a public street corner. But if you're at a private party in someone's house, the owner can 100% kick you out for breaking their rules. Well, social media platforms, they own the house.
So just how big are these private parties? Well, this number, 2.85 billion, that's how many people use Facebook every single month. Just Facebook. When a private company is hosting a party for almost 3 billion people, that creates a level of power and control that is just unprecedented.
And you better believe that kind of power hasn't gone unnoticed. Governments are starting to get nervous, and they're pushing back. You have states like Texas and California passing laws that try to control how these platforms moderate our content, trying to force them to be more open about the rules they're making up. It's a huge, messy legal fight that's happening right now.
All of which brings us right here to today and to the future. The rules for our digital lives are literally being written as we speak, and all this new technology is creating challenges that our old legal systems just don't know how to handle yet.
And these are the battlegrounds where it's all going down. What do we do about AI creating art? How do we balance privacy and security? Who's in charge of policing hate speech? What are the rules going to be for virtual worlds like the metaverse? These aren't sci-fi questions anymore. Lawmakers and tech companies are grappling with them right now.
This quote right here just nails the whole problem. Social media is a privately owned, yet exceptionally public space. We all treat it like it's the public town square, but it's not. It's owned by a corporation. And that fundamental conflict, that tension between what we think our free speech rights are and the reality of private control, that's at the heart of everything.
So we're going to leave you with this big question to think about. As technology keeps racing forward, who should be the one writing the rules for our digital world? Should it be governments, who are accountable to us but are always 2 steps behind? Should it be the tech companies who build these incredible platforms but are ultimately driven by profit? Or should it be us, the users, who actually create the internet's culture every single day? The answer is, well, it's not settled yet. Thanks for watching.